Welcome to Perspectives on Healthy Living. I'm Gabrielle Antolovich, your host, in collaboration with the Pathway Society. We have Ed Jonathans, who is the founder of Bragbox.com and is a certified interactive metronome provider since 2003.
2003.
So an interactive metronome, it sounds like an outer space kind of tube or something. So what is an interactive metronome?
Well, Gabrielle, thanks for having me on, first of all. And yeah, the metronome concept's pretty well understood, right? People who have a music background or a dance background know the tick-tock of how to keep your personal timing as you train as a musician or a dancer. But the interactive metronome is kind of this, new millennium invention. Well, it was invented in the 80s, so it's been around a while. But basically what we have is a device that can help assess and also train people who have any type of neurological deficit. If they have some disorganization in their timing, which shows up as poor motor skills, poor balance.
Oh, something just came to me.
Yeah.
When people play the piano, they have this thing that goes tick, tick, tick. Is that what a metronome is?
Exactly.
Oh,
so
it keeps them in the rhythm.
Right, it's a computerized metronome, and basically with this tool, I can measure your exact timing down to milliseconds.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, so it's pretty fascinating when you improve timing. They say timing is everything.
Yeah.
We've all heard that phrase, and it's very true. You just improve in everyday functions of daily living when you have better timing, because you're responding to environmental cues better.
Really?
Yes.
So why don't we try it? Because, talking about it's one thing, and doing is another. Because
sounds great.
Yeah. Let me see.
So we'll have you just slip on the trigger. So this hand trigger is used for all the upper body tasks.
Right.
Are you left-hand dominant or right-hand dominant?
Well, supposedly right-hand dominant.
Okay. So we'll put it on the right hand. And what you can do is make a new movement. So any motor learning is going to create new neural pathways. So we want to do a different type of clap, not your standard straight hand clap, but a circular clap that's kind of
that feels weird.
concentric, right?
Yeah.
And so what you'll do is you'll hear a cowbell coming out of the speaker.
Okay.
Normally you'd use headphones, but for the demo I wanted to have an external speaker. And what you're trying to do is just match this beat precisely. So you want to be right on time.
So instead of having the tick-tick by the piano.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So you'll hear a cowbell sound, and you want to just kind of be the bell.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me start it up for you.
Oh my God. Can I close my eyes?
It's best to close your eyes.
Okay.
Really focus on the sound and begin. I'll show it on the screen.
That feels weird.
Yeah, if you're seeing it on the screen, you're noticing there's a score, and that's how close she is to 0, 0 being perfect timing. You can see if she's ahead of the beat or behind the beat, and that's important as well.
Oh, wow.
Good. So let's try the next piece. So that would be an assessment. We'd be able to see how well you're able to naturally keep a beat. It was a little, you were a little ahead of the beat a lot, but we can talk about what that means.
Okay,
so
we'll do that when I sit down.
Yeah. So this next one, it's still part of the assessment. What we're doing is we're seeing how well you can do the same task, but with some distracting sounds. So the same job, right? You still want to just match the cowbell, be right on time, but there's these distractors. Try to work through them.
Oh, you mean like the freeway cars?
Yes,
and,
all your background noise and parties.
Oh, and things. Like in the families when you're talking to someone, somebody else is interrupting.
Right. So work through all these distractions. Stay on the job of actually being right on time. Match that cowbell beat. Skip the first one. Good.
I'm the distractive noise.
Yeah. And it gets better.
Oh my God. I can feel myself going with the distractor rather than the actual beat.
Yes.
Isn't that typical?
That's actually,
when people interrupt, you go with them.
Yes, instead of getting back on task.
Exactly.
Good.
Staying focused.
Right, right. Well, good. You got a little piece of how it works, right? We also incorporate, as people learn, there's about 6 different milestones in the training that we try to help people through. And the first is just improving generalized timing, because if you can't improve your timing just doing the hands, it's going to be difficult to do some of the lower body or the upper body, lower body combo moves. We call it a bilateral, cross midline task. Exactly. It's like the chewing gum and talking at the same time, right?
Right.
Some people really struggle with that multitasking, and it's really not multitasking. The brain can learn to time slice, and that's what we're doing. Is we're kind of tasking working memory. So why don't you try that? We'll do a quick.
You want me to
sample of this? Yeah, it's called the bilateral. So you'll do the right hand and the left toe, okay?
Oh my God.
And so what you're going to do is you're going to separate the movement. Let me just show you what it looks like. Often, one of the things in coaching, it really helps people to...
You can't move.
really helps people to see, so I'll model it for you, but you're going to hand, toe, hand, toe. And you're going to separate this hand, though. Remember, and right hand, left.
Yes.
So it's not 2 hands, it's hand on the hip, right? Remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give it a try. On the hip, down here. Yeah. Good. That's it. And you're going to wait for the cowbell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That
so
is
that's
really
an example
hard.
of a bilateral task. And when we get better at that, we're also getting better at our ability to, share focus and share attention across multiple tasks.
And so in the assessment, you get to see if you're too fast, too slow, whether you go with the distraction or not. And that then tells you what's really going on with you.
Yeah, there's a norming chart that kind of tells us what, typical functioning is based on age groups. I work with a lot of pediatric cases, a lot of young people. Kids who struggle with learning disabilities. But for adults, right, who just want to improve at the executive function, that's what we're working on.
Great. Wow. So once you've done the assessment and you get to see what your rhythm is on a physical level, like catching the bell at the right time, dealing with distractions, doing more than one physical, 1 foot, 1 hand, and I'm sure there's a million different ways of doing it. And I'm sure when you get bored, you start putting people on this board and making them go back and forth.
Right. Once we improve the generalized timing, then we'll work on the more difficult tasks, just to keep that just right challenge.
Keep the brain challenged.
Right. And motor learning, the important thing to recognize here is, motor learning is what creates new neural pathways. And there's a concept of durability. When you do this training, because you're creating new neural pathways, it's all based on this concept of neuroplasticity, but as you build new...
What is neuroplasticity?
It's the brain's ability to change and actually, gain improvement.
What do you mean, change?
Well, it's, again, when you're learning, you're increasing, your abilities, right? And so
abilities
in this case...
for what?
Well, in this case, we're improving motor learning. So you're getting more balanced, more coordinated, you're having better focus and attention, and that transfers into a number of functional goals for, academics or, for the executive who wants to be better, at delegating tasks and, time slicing his own calendar.
But I don't understand, if you can get the timing in clapping, how does that translate into being a better manager?
Well, it's a great question. Essentially what we're doing is we're working